Hello and welcome to the channel. Gav Axman spins on a wet and dreary November afternoon with something to cheer me up and hopefully you, a vinyl finds special and a grail item. So it's a word that's often bandied about, but grails are personal to you, and this one kind of completes a 33-year journey with this particular release, but certainly this one record I've been looking for a long time, since I picked up part one. That might give you a clue as to what it is. Anyhow, I'll tell you briefly the tale. I've tried to be a good boy and not go to too many record fairs and record shops in the last couple of months because of some horrendously expensive vet bills for my poor old cat who had most of his teeth out. And because of that, I've trying to be a bit more savvy and pick up the odd bargain online. But this particular record, I'd got it in my Discogs want list, which is something I occasionally use, but not too often. And I only put really something I really am after that I know I'm unlikely to see. So it had been sat in this want list since I'd got back from Den Bosch, where I'd been looking for this record to no avail. And it's been in there for 6 months. And then very late at night, when I really should have been going to bed, but I was up messing about with cats that needed a bit of hand feeding, I was flicking through my emails and this little alert come up on email saying, you've got new items in your want list. And it was this particular record. And I've got to be honest, I clicked on it thinking, oh, it'll be too expensive. You know, it'll be €100 or 150 plus, something like that. And when I clicked on it, the price, I had to do a double take because it was so low and it was a buy it now. You know, it's not bids, Discogs, they put the price on, you buy it. It was from Europe, so there was a little bit of shipping costs, but it was just ridiculously low. So I looked at it once, looked at it twice, and I thought there's got to be a catch here. So I looked at the description, and it just had a little comment about side B label missing. That's all it said. But the record then was, you know, good, all that type of stuff. Plays okay type of thing. And it was so cheap, I thought it's got to be worth a punt because I've paid the lowest ever price on Discogs for this record. And the only defect in it really is that of the two labels, like label A is there, label B is missing, but the record itself, other than that, is perfectly fine. The sleeves, I wouldn't say it's mint, but it's, you know, it's a VG, and you know, without further ado, I'll show you the record. So for those that are a long-term follower of the channel, you'll know what it is. It is none other than the Smiths Best and the all-important 2. So this was released in 1992, which, believe it or not, was 33 years ago. And this was the second part of a 2-part set. So the reason this, therefore, has become a bit of an obsession is if you've got part 1, which is what I have, if you put the two together, you can kind of make the complete... There you go, I'll try my best to do it. The complete picture. There you go. So that's the whole picture. I'll show you something else in a minute, but having the two together does kind of make a big difference. And it is the only UK album, an official release of the Smiths, that I hadn't got on vinyl. So it was a bit of a biggie. So for those that think, what's he up to? That was the price, €9.99. So £8.60. I'll put a picture somewhere in this picture that shows you the lowest price on Discogs, and that was me. So it does show you sometimes things pop up on Discogs and they are worth a punt. So there's the label for side 1, and for side 2 it's just blank, and that really is the only issue with the record. It's not perfect, it's not a mint copy, and I think if it was, it would have probably been a lot more, but I've cleaned it a couple of times and it plays absolutely fine. It gets better with every clean and every play, so a little bit of crackle here and there, but with a bit of TLC it can do, and that literally is vastly reduced purely because the label is missing on side B, and that's there, which for me doesn't really matter because I have those acrylic platters where you put a clamp on, so you can't actually see the label in any case when it's playing. So, and we don't play the label, do we? So delighted to get that. So let me tell you a little bit about the Smiths' Best 2 said record and why it's important. So in 1992, 5 years after the band had split, Rough Trade in that meantime had gone belly up, and the catalogue in the UK got acquired by, I think, WEA, and it was on Sire in America. And in 1992, they started to kind of mine the back catalogue, and they did the first compilation after the band had split up, which was Best One, and it did really, really well. On the back of the reissue of This Charming Man as a single, which went top 5, and it was the most successful year I think the Smiths ever had for chart-wise. And this reissue campaign started brilliantly because the B-sides there on this particular CD had never been released digitally, and they did it as a 2-pack with all of them, the various versions of Charming Man all put together, of which there were 7. So that's a great little release, but to have it in this kind of numbered 2-pack on CD was brilliant. And they released the 7-inch as well, and we thought, brilliant, this is going to be a fantastic reissue campaign. However, the follow-up single was How Soon Is Now, and all the B-sides you'd already got, and the whole thing went like that, and the proposed part 2 didn't do anywhere near as part 1, which is why it's so hard to get. Also 1992, an awful lot of people were buying the Smiths on CD for the first time, and it was the CD that really drove this release. The other thing that was really popular was this, which was the complete picture. Now this is a DVD copy, but it was originally a VHS, and again you can see now where if you bought that, you kind of thought, well, hold on, there's more to that image than meets the eye. Morrissey didn't like this cover. I don't think many of the Smiths fans did either, and in America it has a completely different cover, more of which later. Now, I bought this on VHS back in the day. I bought the Charming Man singles, I bought the follow-up singles, but I didn't bother with part 2 because that really was enough for me. However, towards the end of that year, the record company did a bundle and put parts 1 and 2 together in this nice limited edition numbered version, and that's where I got my 2 CDs from, and that for many years was me done with that album. However, when the internet came along and it got a lot easier to get things on import, I managed to bag the American covers. So this is Smith's Best One in America compared to the UK cover, and I've got to be honest, I think you'll find that's a much nicer cover. Track listing's identical, but it's on the Sire kind of label, for those that like this stuff, and that is I think Richard Davros, the cover star. So this was a Morrissey sleeve, and then part 2 got that cover, and there you go, that's the back of that. Da-da-da. And again, compared to that version, it's a much nicer cover. So I personally, again, thought with CD, I've got my American copies, I've got my UK copies in a nice little box and a slipcase. I'm happy with that. And of course, I then picked up this on vinyl, and for many years I've been hunting this fella, and it finally turned up. So there you go, that's a grail for me, all because of a missing blank B label. So thank you for watching. That's the first of the vinyl finds for October. If you're a Smiths fan, hopefully you'll appreciate that. If you don't like the Smiths, so do we. And the next videos, there'll be a generic vinyl finds, and then there's going to be a 12-inch single special, because I've been being quite selective, hunting the internet to save some pennies, and I've bagged a few bargains. So more of that to come. But in the meantime, thank you for watching, and yeah, hopefully you know, you can now feel better for me that my complete picture, there we go, is done. Oh, it's really hard to do that. There you go, that's roughly what it should look like. There you go. So thanks for watching. Gavaxman Spins, over and out.